Hello, people. So it's about 10 minutes till the witching hour here, and one of these days I will do something about the doing spooky posts by computer light, but today is not that day, and tomorrow isn't looking real good either, so for now, you gets what you gets. This is kind of that, like, dusty corner of the internet where the dust bunnies all get swept under the bed and stuff. This is not your glamorous influencer corner of the internet. I mean, I know that probably comes as a real surprise given how amazing I look and everything. Crap's sake. Um, anyway, when I had gotten home earlier, I was really excited to tell somebody about the fact that I managed to get through my upright MRI that I went to today. So, yeah, at that point I was just scared of the idea of the MRI because I have, not in the past been able to get through it, not had good experiences with it. Even the open one was too claustrophobic for me because I felt like I was trying to get through a cave lying on my back and trying to, like, climb through it. So, no, that was not going to cut the mustard, and so that's why I noped out of it before I went into full-on panic attack. This wasn't like that, but I'm just gonna be real with people here. I am not telling anybody, that, because good God, that would be hypocritical as hell. I'm not telling anybody that the body you have is bad or wrong and you gotta change it. I'm just letting you know the parameters of this thing. I am not a small person by any means. I'm not going to pretend I'm a small person. I'm not going to put up with any concern trolling shit in the comments because I know why my body is the way it is, and the reasons are primarily endocrine, but, a lot of heavier people on my mother's side of the family with endocrine problems and stuff, and I took after them. You could probably tell by my face that I have endocrine problems. But anyways, so no, none of that shit. I'm not even gonna allow it. I'm not gonna argue with it. Nothing. I'm just telling you how it is. So in case you find yourself in the position that I was in of needing to get an alternative kind of MRI. I'm about as big as it gets for being able to get into one of the upright ones. And I feel that's not right. I feel that they should be adjustable for larger people because larger people are going to have these procedures done. Um, so, I crammed myself in there anyway. Luckily, I was able to do that. But, again, I'm going to be real with you here. Just so's you know, if you've got to put your body into one of these machines, just kind of what the outside parameters are. Now, I don't really think there's any on height, but I'm 5'6". I weigh about 310. So if you're somewhere in that range, You could probably do it depending on the way your body's shaped. Most of my soft stuff is in my booty and thighs and my abdomen a bit, so I was able to work it around, scoot the butt back and all that. But just letting you know so as you're not wasting your time if you're in the position of having to get one of these kinds of scans done. I will, you know, not shame people's bodies. I'm never going to do that. I don't think it's right. I don't think that it um, I don't think it promotes people becoming what other people think they should become as far as what their body should look like. I think it only promotes, self-loathing and that kind of thing. And so, um, yeah, it just kind of breaks my heart when people do that. So, like I said, I'm just telling you how it is. And I was real proud that I got through it because, and actually, it's the upright one is not scary at all. At least for me, that's kind of an even for me because I have a real high degree of medical anxiety, and you know, I'm also really claustrophobic. So it was kind of cool, just um, be able to sit there and see everything that's right in front of me. And so, oh, great cat. Hello, cat. It's Tara. Her name's Tara. Um, anyways, so I get to sit there and see what's right in front of me. Well, what was in front of me, I had them, you know, change the channel from all the politics crap that I've had too much of, that we've all had too much of, and just watched a rerun of the Jeffersons while um, I was getting the procedure done. I might say I watched a hell of a lot of ads, and they intersperse the Jeffersons between the ads, because crap's sake, I got rid of TV back in 2012. I couldn't take it anymore. You paying out the ass for this service, and you still have to watch all these damned ads, and that's why I won't suffer the ads on like Amazon Prime. They got their freebie, which means you gotta watch ads. Well, I'm like, yeah, fuck you. I'm paying for this service. I'm not gonna watch your fucking ads. That's when you pay for a service, you shouldn't have to watch ads on top of it. And as Mrs. Slocum would say, I am unanimous in this. I'm not going to put up with that shit. Anyways, I got through my MRI, but I was, so disappointed that nobody was available, awake, whatever, when I got home to give me an Girl. I realize there's drawbacks to being like I am. It's hard for me to form um, strong connections with people, and also we're in this loopy household of various neurodivergence, and so I get here and brought home Panda Express, and I was excited to kind of celebrate it. Everybody's asleep. There's one big problem with this, you know, which is living way out here in the middle of nowhere like this. Somebody should have been ready to answer my call if necessary, if like the vehicle broke down or something, and I was going to need a ride, and I'm going to have to kind of talk about that, the reality of that, because I don't know. I don't want to go into that too much with y'all. Um, my intent with this channel is more to keep it kind of on the writing, but I also do want to talk about stuff that I really didn't know about myself until I was much older. And if I had known it, I think things would have gone a lot differently. Because one thing I'm learning is a guy named Chris who has a channel about where he's in his early 40s, and he talks about having been diagnosed with autism as an adult. And he has a lot of really good information. Well, there's a factor where, if you don't treat your autism, ADHD, and neurological conditions like that, because these are neurological conditions, they can have psychological ramifications if they aren't treated properly, but I don't put them in the same box as psych conditions, which I also have, which are things like, at this point, I think it's kind of primarily the anxiety, but I also, my baseline state is kind of a mild to moderate depression. I'm I'm never Little Miss Sunshine. One of these days we'll have to talk about Little Miss Sweet Tea and, oh my God, toxic positivity, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Anyways, a lot of physical conditions are associated with having these neurological issues when they haven't been treated properly, and it quite possibly goes back to not being able to make a reliable or sustainable living, because that can be difficult for people with these conditions. Now, one of the jobs I was at for almost 11 years, and I hardly ever missed a day, so, or a night, I worked night shift, but it looked on the surface like, oh, okay, this person's alright, they're not out there, uh, having problems with alcohol or drugs or whatever, but I wasn't alright. If you had seen the state of things in my home, you would have known. I was just like riddled with anxiety all the time. I really probably should have gone on disability years before I did, but I didn't know everything about what was going on with me, for one thing. And the more I talk about these things, the more it's kind of gonna come out how it was. But Chris talked about in some of his videos how you end up also developing these physical health problems when you have a condition like autism or ADHD, or for some of us both, because we got to be special like that. Anyways, but the stress from that, and from not having learned the coping skills early on and stuff, and get to know ourselves, and um, what we're really capable of, and how to work with things, because we work with things different and stuff. Um, and it does end up, the stress ends up leading you to have health problems. And since my endocrine system was vulnerable in the first place, it was kind of like dominoes, because my thyroid was the first to go, and that was like when I hit puberty. It said, "Fuck you, lady," and it blew itself up. So it doesn't work right. Um, and I'm not going to get into all the hassle I've had with finally getting a thyroid medicine that does work for me, because like the one they always want to prescribe, Synthroid, that shit almost put me in the hospital. I can't take it, but it's the one Medicare wants me to take, and I have to pay out of pocket for NP thyroid, which is what I can take, but I have to balance out the dose, otherwise start getting increased heart rate and elevated blood pressure and all that shit that could lead to a stroke or heart attack. So we don't want that. Anyways, um, what I want to say, just like, take it easy on yourself. Be kind with yourself. This whole shit that we've all supposed to be out here looking like some kind of fucking glamour model or something is, it's a bunch of nonsense. You are how you are. One thing I kind of thought about a while ago was that, went through my entire life thinking, God, I'm so fucking ugly, and I don't know, maybe I am objectively ugly. I really don't know that, but I thought I was. That's the whole thing there. I thought I was. And when I do try to look at it objectively, it's like, no, I wasn't ugly. I looked like a European peasant, with the stocky body and round face, and there's nothing wrong with that, actually. And if you got a larger, if you got a body that's kind of outlier either direction, either really thin or really heavy, um, sometimes it is an indicator of eating disorders or such. And so how the hell are you helping anybody with eating disorders by belittling and shaming what their body is? I would love to know that. You're not. So that's the thing with these fucking people who are always, trying to take the piss with things like health at every size and that, which is actually helping people to um, adopt healthy habits. And the thing there is, the focus is not weight loss. The focus is to treat the body you've got better, and whether or not it results in weight loss, you're still going to be healthier. See? That's how that shit works. Anyways, so, yeah, what was I saying? No, but a heavier body or a very, very thin body, it's usually an indicator of some kind of imbalance, and it's not always to do, especially on the heavier end, with how much a person is eating. People like to think that that's all it is, and it isn't. That's can be a factor, But I'll probably talk about it some more just 'cause I guess it's been too long since we had an episode of the X-Files, and I want the truth to be out there. Yeah, imagine what it would have been like to have me me now, not me when I was like 29 years old or whatever it was when the X-Files came out. It was when my son was really young. I remember that, but I don't remember the exact year. 1994, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I just imagine if um, me, the way I am now, played one of those parts, especially, part of Scully the skeptic, and I would have been all snarky and shit, and there wouldn't have been a ghost of a chance that, the will they or won't they dynamic between the two lead characters. No, no way. It would have been, oh God, he has to go deal with the grouchy old forensic scientist again. Well, I think of these things sometimes. It's very funny, but yeah, I actually did write a little bit of X-Files fan fiction back in the day. Sometimes I really miss writing fan fiction because there wasn't this onus on it to produce something that's marketable to the masses, because I'm never going to produce that crap. I can't. I just can't. Excuse me, it's allergy season. Anyways, yeah, right now I'm trying to work to finish a story about a guy who's in the position of having to try to tell the idiot king of his society that if they go through with the plan the king has, basically the world's gonna end, and this fucker just won't listen to him. So it's kind of dark, dark comedy, along with science fiction. But anyway, hope to one day be able to show that, put that out there for y'all. Maybe some of you will enjoy it, but I'm gonna stop this here. I think I've been going about 20 minutes, might be longer. God, if anybody listens to these all the way through, thank you, and I'm sorry for hurting your sanity, I guess. I don't know. I think I've had about 5 viewers on every one of these videos, so whoop-de-doo, that's great, thank you. And, anyways, I might get another one of these out there this week. I don't have a specific schedule on it at all. May always ends up being medical shit month. I don't know why that is. I guess because I avoid it during the winter because I don't want to drive during the winter. So I leave it till May. I should spread it out more. Anyways, Tara and I wish you a good night wherever you are.